Well, days before the convention, Lyndon did let it be known that he was a candidate for president. But it was too late, and John Kennedy got the nomination. Oh, Lyndon, I just know he's going to offer you the vice presidency, and I hope you will not take it.
Bird wasn't the only one against me accepting. Mr. Sam Rayburn was also opposed, and Vice President Gardner told me, "Lyndon, the vice presidency isn't worth a pitcher of warm spit." And Jack's brother Bobby certainly didn't want me on the ticket. But Jack did. I accepted.
Not long afterwards, Jack called and asked if I could handle more of the women's end of the campaigning load, since Jackie was pregnant. I made 16 solo campaign appearances in 11 states and another 150 appearances with Lyndon. In the midst of all this, I was in the middle of a family tragedy. On September 13th, my daddy developed blood poisoning in his leg. I spent as much time as I could with him, and on October 22nd, my daddy died.
14 days after her daddy's death, Bird accompanied me to a rally at a local Dallas hotel. We were besieged by Nixon supporters who were angry at me because of my support for civil rights. Signs proclaimed, "Texas traitor," "Yankee," and one woman held a "Let's ground Ladybird" sign with which she hit my wife while spitting in her face. Well, that confrontation by that mob made headlines. And on November the 8th, I made sure that Kennedy got elected by delivering the state of Texas to him. Oh yes, there were Republican charges of voting fraud, but it was just Texas politics, and a federal court rejected those allegations.
Well, we bought a beautiful new house in Washington, and during my tenure there as wife of the vice president, I again played the role of substitute for Mrs. Kennedy at certain public appearances. Over 50 times in just that first year.
Now, I told Jack I needed something worthwhile to do, so he put me in charge of the new Committee on Equal Employment Opportunity, and he also made me the chairman of NASA. I also spent a lot of time traveling around the world on behalf of the president. In fact, 11 trips to over 33 foreign lands. One world leader asked me if I was born in a log cabin. I replied, "You have me confused with Lincoln. I was born in a manger." In a village in Senegal, Africa, I handed out pencils, "Compliments of your Senator, Lyndon Johnson." In Karachi, I walked among the natives and the lepers, and I invited a camel driver to come and see me in Texas, which he did. I chased steers to a pasture in Saigon, and I let out a good old Texas yell in the Taj Mahal. I also stood in West Berlin, Germany, and I gave a speech before 300,000 people. I detested every minute of it. And then there were those distracting news stories linking me to people like Texas wheeler dealer Billy Silestis, who was being investigated by the FBI, and Bobby Baker, who had been my Senate right-hand man. He resigned his position as secretary to the majority leader because of his legal troubles. In fact, on the afternoon of November 22nd, 1963, a business acquaintance of Baker's, Don Reynolds, was set to testify at a secret session of the Senate Rules Committee about some dealings he claimed he had with me. I couldn't be bothered with that. I had more important things to worry about. Bird and I had to entertain the President of the United States.
Well, President Kennedy was making a political tour of Texas, and he brought Jackie with him. We were to entertain them at our ranch on the night of November 22nd, and the next day take them to a Texas Wild West show. But first, there was to be the motorcade ride through Dallas. Lyndon and I were in the fourth car, one vehicle removed from the president. I heard a sharp, loud sound. I thought maybe firecrackers. Well, the next thing I knew, Lyndon's Secret Service man had lunged on top of him, and the car sped forward. When the vehicle stopped, we were at Parkland Hospital, and I now knew that the president had been shot. I found Jackie standing outside the operating room, alone. I don't think I ever saw anyone so much alone in all my life. I put my arms around her, saying, God help us all.
At 1:20 p.m., Kenny O'Donnell, President Kennedy's friend, walked up to me and said, he's gone. We decided that I should get to Washington immediately. Well, we were worried about a possible conspiracy. I would not leave without Mrs. Kennedy. She would not leave without the President's body. Arrangements were made, and within an hour, we were all aboard Air Force One. Federal Judge Sarah Hughes arrived, and the closest thing to a Bible that we could find was a Catholic missal. I wanted Jackie beside me as I took the oath of office, concluding with, so help me God. It was 2:40 p.m.